the Helm Dev Weekly call for Thursday, the 27th of June. My name is Martin, and this is how we're going to roll for today. We're going to start off with any announcements. Then we'll do stand-ups first for the core maintainers, then for any of the community members that would like to say something. Then we go to discussions, and then we finish out with assignments. So without further ado, let's kick it off. So do we have any announcements for today? All right, we've none in the notes. Anyone got an announcement that they'd like to mention? Okay, I'll quiet on that end. So let's head into the stand-ups, and I'll start off with Nikhil.
Hey guys, not much to report from my end. I was at a customer offsite last week, so not much Helm related. This week, I know that there's a bunch of PRs that are piling up and things to look at, so I want to get hands dirty with that. So I will pass it on to Josh.
Hey there. Not too much to report on. I was last week giving talks. Gave another talk this week. But besides that, I'm planning a Sharp Museum 0.9. So I want to get it on the get.helm.sh. So I'm meaning to talk with Mr. Fisher about that. Taylor.
Yeah, so this week I haven't done too much around the Helm side. I was just getting some stuff ready so I could jump over to Helm 3 things. Martin and I were going to cut a release, but our schedules never really lined up. So we'll be cutting 2.14.2 on Monday is the plan. So we'll be doing that. Sorry for the delay. Yeah, fingers crossed. So we're getting that out. I'll have a couple bug fixes. If there's anyone in the community who's like, hey, like this bug fix was merged and we need it, and for some reason we missed tagging it, or you see another PR that's like, hey, we should get this in, let us know, and we'll try to make sure we tag it and review it if we can, and see if it's something we can pull into 2.14.2. So yeah, that's what I'm doing on Monday, and then we'll be ramping up on some Helm 3 stuff during next week. And let's pass it over to Scott.
Hey, not a lot to report for me. Only one tiny thing is the coalesce values fix I added to the 2.14.2 milestone, like we had talked about. Not much else. I guess you'll see it in the release notes. Oh, also, I wanted to say sorry for not moderating the previous week. Admin was in town, and I ran out to meet him and totally spaced. I'll try not to do that in the future.
I think it's more important to beat somebody than so I'm with that 100%. Okay, anyone else from the core maintainers? Okay, so I'll just finish off. So this week I was digging into a lot of PR reviews, trying to help through them. So I got through a good few of those. I also fixed an issue with the the conformance or style templating on the V3 branch. So yeah, if you saw an issue when you were running your tests, your unit tests, it was failing on them. So it should be okay now if you get the latest. Some issue triaging as well I was at. I also got to the migration work, so I've made a bit more progress on that. So hopefully I'll have something up on the GitHub next week on that. So that's all from me. So I think let's head over to discussions. Oh, sorry. Let's head over to anyone in the community that would like to say something.
Michelle, I don't think is on the call, but she has an updated Helm testing proposal, and I've provided a little bit of feedback, but be curious to get other folks' thoughts as well.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting, Jacob. Yeah, I've given one comment on it. I suppose my feedback is I'm not that worried how it's implemented under the hood. It's more the testing around the charts. Can it work? You know, the backwards compatibility, because we don't know how many charts are out there with the testing, the original testing framework in it. And the last thing would be around the ability that, like, talking to people on testing and in different systems, that generally if tests succeed, you would like to see the environment cleaned up. And then if it fails, the environment is left as is, or you additionally have a flag that would clean everything. So that's kind of more from a high level. That would be my input on it.
Yep, I had some similar feedback as well. There's actually a new pull request as of a couple days ago. I'm not sure what happened with the other one, but if you'd like to comment on that one as well, that'd be great.
Sure, yeah. And Michelle, when she gets it, we'll come back with us on that, why it's gone that way. So, yeah, we can maybe put in a question for Michelle that why is there a different PR opened or issue opened? Thanks for that, Jacob. Anyone else wants to say something? Okay, so let's head over to discussions. I don't think, is Michelle on the call? Okay, so what we might do, Nikhil, if you don't mind, we might move Michelle's issue to next week because she's not here today to discuss it. Okay, the next issue, sorry?
Oh, sounds good. Sorry, I just wanted to.
Okay, sure, thank you. So we jump on to the next discussion issue, and it's around the V3 charts, the API version to V2. Now, I think Matt, Farina brought this up. I don't think Matt's on the call today either. Is there anyone that wants to talk about this? Or okay, we're having a very quiet meeting today. Maybe
I
to do.
I know a little bit about what that is, but I think it would be better to wait for Matt because there's probably more meat on it than cursory understanding of it. Yeah.
Sounds good. So we're going to move that to next week as well. So there you go. Okay, and the last discussion item is someone from the community was asking during the week about when Alpha 2 is coming out. So I suppose the word at the moment is that it's when the schedule for there is no schedule as such yet, and it's mostly when we've worked through the items on the backlog for Alpha 2. So I suppose I don't have the actual PR or the issue that Adam opened with the deliverables for Alpha 2. So maybe if we stick that in underneath the discussion, if you can find that, Nikhil, that'd be great. Thanks. Does anyone like to add anything about the Alpha 2?
No, I think we're just working on that as hard as possible.
Yeah, it's working as hard. So
I think we have compressed things down from having an Alpha 3 as well to just being an Alpha 2. We've deferred some features to post 3.0. So that's the plan right now. Is like right now we're I think we're planning on deferring things like Lua and there's one other other features that we were pushing out to like basically 3.1, 3.2 type of timeframes. So we can get these critical things out. So we're just, I think, working mostly around stuff like the new diffing and applying of a release. I think we're trying to use the three-way or something along those lines. I have to dig more into it. Backporting in any other features, like for example, the atomic flag is missing, and people are really liking that. So we need to like port that over, which also means I need to go back and fix the weight flag to work with Helm 3. And so those are the kinds of like details and things we're finishing up. So it's really just finishing the major features and then doing any of the backporting work that needs to be done to pull in any other features that were already added and porting them over to Helm 3. And so it'll take probably a couple months, but we're trying to get that out, and we did shorten up the time frame overall because we're not going to be releasing the 3 alphas, just the 2 is currently our thought. That might change as we implement some of these features. If something needs to go, if we need to get something out and tested, we might do an Alpha 2 and then an Alpha 3. But right now, I'm pretty sure we're planning to do Alpha 2s, and that's it.
Yeah, and it's also the making it more robust from all the feedback that's coming in on Alpha 1 and so forth. So I suppose, as you say, the priority is to try and get the release out the door. So, yeah.
Taylor, real quick, is this the time to ask, just on the cuff of that, where, if there's a spot where any initial Lua work is in the repo? I know there was an early branch, but I don't.
I'll have to sync up with Brian, who's the one working on it.
Okay.
To be sure, I know the work exists. I just know that, like, we were trying not to pollute the mainline stuff with it until it was ready to go, because yeah, we all know what kind of nightmare that would be. So
right, that makes sense.
We were trying to do that. And anyway, oh, Michelle's here. Did we want to go back and revisit the stuff she had on the?
Sure.
Did I put something?
Hi, Michelle.
Hey.
Do you want to give a very good? Thank you for joining. Would you like to do a quick stand up? We've just moved on down to discussion, so I don't know if you'd like to do a stand up, or do you just want to go straight to talking about the test framework, because Jacob is on and just quite interested in that.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, yeah, so I've been working, I'll do a stand up and then we can talk about the discussion stuff. So I've been working on Helm test for the last few weeks. This week I focused on Helm test cleanup. So that's going pretty well. I'm at the point where I'm ready to do some knowledge sharing and like work with people. So Jacob, who's on this call, actually Slacked me, and we're going to get on a Zoom whenever he has some free time. And I'll just kind of go in detail on what I've been doing and thinking about on Helm test. I saw his stand up. So yeah, like would love some more feedback on the Helm test PR. And yeah, so I'm just ready to do knowledge sharing and continuing finishing off Helm test cleanup. What was the discussion item that we were talking about or ready to talk about?
Okay, so the discussion item was, let me just get my bearings, 1 second. Oh yeah, it came from about 2 weeks ago. Need a label or a way to assign community members to issues.
Oh yeah, so so let's see, I was talking to a community member on an issue and he wanted to take that issue, but there was no way for me to assign it to him. We've had this discussion in the past, but I haven't really looked at like how to do GitHub teams. I was thinking maybe we could like add a temporary GitHub team that would be like collaborators or just people in the community who want to pitch in, and that way I could assign PRs to them. So I just have to look a little bit more into what like administrative controls GitHub will allow me teams wise and access wise, and then kind of look into how to do that. But I just want to throw it out there. I want more people to get involved, and I don't know how the permissions stuff work exactly on GitHub, and I'll have to figure that out. So if anybody has tips there, let me know.
Just one small thing. I don't think we even in core maintenance, does any of us assign an issue to ourselves? We just do the issue. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
I always. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I do. You were saying the same thing you were saying, Michelle. I do.
Yeah.
When I'm going to try to work on it.
Oh yeah. So when you go to work on the issue, you assign it yourself. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I never do. All right. There we go. Yeah. I suppose. Yeah. There must be a way around that. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm going to look at what Kubernetes does exactly. They have a whole GitHub admin team and see if they have any advice. And then I'll just check back in next time I'm around, next meeting or something, and give an update on that.
Sure. Okay, Michelle, anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah. So it looks like Jacob is free at 3 p.m. today. Jacob, what, oh, you're in Eastern? Yeah, I'm free at 3 Eastern too. So if anybody else is available, I'll drop like some information in the Helm Dev Slack channel and we can get on Zoom. The thing that I want to do today is just go through what's happened so far, what I found out through like working through the implementation. And then also we'll probably write up some issues as well because I've been talking about how the community can get involved. So we can just like write out issues on that call too, so people can jump in. Does that sound good, Jacob?
That would be great. Thank you.
Sorry, Michelle, I won't make that because I have something on this evening in my time zone. I don't know if you heard what I mentioned earlier. Is the only things of, I suppose, of interest for me is more at a high level. I'm not that worried about the actual implementation. It's more around the usability, in the sense that I suppose the case around that when you run the tests, that if generally the feedback I got from people is that if they're a success, it should clean up all its resources. If they're a failure, they should leave the resources there so you can check them out, or you can provide a flag that will keep the resources regardless if it's a success or failure. And then the other thing around, which I put the comment in the last day, was I suppose we don't know how many tests are out there, and if people are using tests, they're bound to have them in production, etc. And will those their charts still be backwards compatible? And I think that might be an issue for people, especially if, chart tests have mushroomed that kind of way. So yeah, they'd be probably the key points. So if whatever your outcome of today is, if you can provide some context, as you say, if you're going to create PRs and stuff or issues, that'd be great, and I can read up on that.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. I think that's really good feedback. The cleanup command, I put separately because, I separated that out because of the same feedback. So there are two isolated actions. So doing the conditional stuff, it's really hard for us to figure out what people really want. And the whole if this happens, I want cleanup to happen. That seems to me, that seems like something you should do in a script. On the command line, it'd be nice to have two isolated commands that run specific actions. That way we can be more explicit about what we actually want to do instead of doing the conditionals. I thought, I did get some feedback around how people wanted that. And so if there's any, if we disagree there, that's okay. We can talk more about it on a GitHub issue, and I can open up an issue specifically around that. Do you think that the cleanup command being separate kind of takes care of the feedback that you've been getting, or do you have some strong feedback that that's the UX that people want? Or does it,
from the UX I got, it's just a case of when it's a success, they're saying by default it should clean up, and then if it's a failure, it should leave the resources there, and then there should be an ability to clean up, or if you want afterwards, or an ability to hold on to the resources if you want to hold on to resources if it's a success. So it's generally, I think, on a success, everything should be cleaned away, unless you explicitly say to keep.
Okay, yeah, let's open an issue up about that. My current feeling is that maybe some of those questions had come out of the cleanup flag. So there's a cleanup flag right now that cleans up everything. And so there's if you just have the flag, right, then you may want some of that logic built in, only do when you do -- cleanup, I want cleanup to happen, so I'm going to do -- cleanup, but maybe they want that flag to mean only clean up if it's successful, and only and don't clean up when it's unsuccessful. I wonder what the community's feelings would be now on that same issue if we have a separate cleanup flag or a cleanup action that. So you don't necessarily need to use that flag. You can just do an and cleanup, or clean up whether it's successful or not. Just I guess explicitly. Does that make sense?
I think if you I can't know which is, I think whatever the community, I think I referenced an issue that was raised a long time ago on this. So there's a big thread down along it. and I tried to
gotcha.
summarize the thread. So maybe if you've looked in there, and when I find it, what I'll do is I'll post it into your Slack or somewhere after the call. I just can't find it at the moment. So yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, and thanks for bringing this up. Let's continue that this conversation on an issue, maybe that issue that you summarized for us.
I just put in the Zoom chat a link to a section where I kind of started that discussion a little bit on the current proposal.
Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant.
Oh, awesome.
It might be, it's probably big enough to have as a separate issue though too.
Okay.
Jacob had one question as well, Michelle. He just wanted to know how come there was a new poll opened in community. So you had, I think, I can't remember what number, but it's 90 now, is it? Is the new?
Yeah, 90 is the new. So I put up that pull request for the proposal, and that was fine. But I got a lot of feedback that wasn't necessarily in the issue, but I just had video calls with people and roamed through the GitHub issues, and I just realized what people were asking for was not what I had suggested in the proposal, and so it was so different that I just opened up another pull request instead of pushing another commit to the same pull request so that people could see the difference, just to be transparent. And I just didn't want to change everything and disregard everyone's comments on the first test proposal. So, but the second test proposal is the outcome of having lots of calls and going through GitHub issues and after that initial proposal was discussed. So that's why there's two. The first one should be closed, but I just wanted to give it time. I can close that if it's confusing.
No, that's if you just want to put a comment in and say that you give people an understanding where you're going and that you will be closing shortly.
Okay.
Yeah, if you think that's
fine.
But I think that's great work, Michelle. Thanks very much on this, because this is really important capability, because I've seen it over the last few months in the community. I've been on that people ask a lot about this, and people are using it, even though with all test capability there's certain limitation with the charts, but definitely people are using it in production for their charts to give a certain level of validation before they run.
From what I could tell from GitHub searches, Helm test is used about half as often as other hooks like pre-install or post-install. So yeah, it's certainly very popular already.
Cool, awesome. And just to address your last comment, or the latter part of your comment, and some of the GitHub comments on that proposal, there was a change, or there was a request to put, excuse me one second, to put, let's see, the test artifacts, the test manifests into a test directory inside of templates. We've always made this a best practice, but because I thought I could make a breaking change here since there's a major version bump, I went ahead and tried to go ahead and implement that. But Jacob, and so I had, and then I took that implementation out, the one that requires your tests to be in the templates test directory. And Jacob caught that on my PR, so thanks, Jacob, good catch. So right now in the implementation, what's up there, you don't necessarily have to have your tests in the templates test directory. You just have to have the right annotation, which is different from the old test hook annotations. So that's what's there right now. And it looks like from the pull requests, like people don't think that not don't think, but putting all your tests in the templates test directory is too backwards. It's too much of a breaking change and isn't backwards compatible. There are ways for me to make this test feature backwards compatible, but it just makes the code really ugly, and I just don't think it's worth it, and it's really risky. So I'm leaning towards, going back to just having the annotation instead of also having the annotation and also requiring all the tests to go in a specific directory inside of the templates directory. So I haven't commented on that PR, but I just wanted to throw that out there since I know a few people have asked about it.
Okay. Thanks for that, Michelle. I'm going to stop it there because I need to do assignments. But if there's anything else, you're obviously going to have to call today and so forth. So when you put your content into the feedback into GitHub, then that'd be great. We can work with that. If anyone has anything else they want, please put it into the discussion for next week, and we can bring that up then. So coming to us
for next week, Martin, the problem is it will be on July 4th, which is Independence Day here in the U.S.
Hey.
So most of us will be off in the U.S. So I'm not sure if we want to have the meeting or not have the meeting because we'll lose probably about half the people we normally do, but we can still go on. It just attendance will be much lower.
Okay, and it is the day after my 10th wedding anniversary, so I won't be here either. So, yeah, I got married the day before Independence Day, which is a good idea. Yes, what do people think? Will we postpone it for Independence Day?
I think it might be smart to postpone it, yeah. Sorry, Michelle, I didn't mean to.
What do you think, Michelle?
I think she was just saying +1 based on the chat.
Sorry, +1.
So, so I think we should just move it out because I think the large majority of people will be gone. So I'll go announce it in the Helm Dev channel and make sure that people know we're not going to do the call next week. And so I think that's probably the best. So we don't assign anything and then we'll pick it up. We can assign it for 2 weeks out though.
Yeah, let's go for 2 weeks out. Who'd like to be moderator in 2 weeks out?
I think I can do moderator, and Josh said he could do notes. I'm not sure if he meant next week or he could do the week after. I think he's going to take Independence Day off too. I think you have to have a barbecue and some drinks and enjoy yourself. So yeah. So happy Independence Day to everybody for next week. I have a few days off myself, so I'm going to enjoy that. I'll moderate. We can have Josh put down his notes, and then if we have to make some changes next meeting, we can.
Yep, and if you can't do it, I can do it. So.
Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, folks, thanks very much indeed. Lovely to have you all on the call today, and let's talk again in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, everybody.
Happy 4th.